Consistently I grow in every industry. Leave it on the dust when I'm in this. Authentically cultivating on my winning streak. Maybe I'm in too deep. Maybe I sin when I go to sleep. Gotta speak to walk with a fire ski. To fly and free and what's frequency. And frequently see what one dreams to be. Intent to vibration. All the wisdom I'm chasing circles back to my inner station in space. And ultimate thrills all over the place. I taste the thrills of my chase. To who do the choice? It's the aim of my thoughts. You cannot afford this full pace to adore us by bringing the chorus. All you're doing is words. Your spirits adore us with grace. I dance and judge a desire. She calls me a gentle messiah. We fall in love to get higher. My pilots inspire when she breathes, release her much and she's fire. Hermetic with a flow, let me spit that. Aesthetic with a show, let me kick that. Kinetic with a glow, let me hit that. Connect a little more, let me sit back. Yeah, deep into my Merkaba. If you can't fly, never heard of ya. Soaring high, my Merkaba. Gots to me, everybody heard of us. All cause of me, all cause of we. Magic manifest when we triple RC. Bringing to life everything we can see. Communicating everything we can be. Like what can I be? Like what can I be? Connecting so infinitely, there's no limit to what I can be. I feel me so deep, I chill in my beat. And don't speak of peace. Life under the sea is so deep, it'll put you straight to sleep. And that's not for me, so I'll be chilling on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Miss call me ends up beat that womb, just see if we can dance like A. Symmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to T-shirts, more kisses, we'll be back soon. I'm busy chilling on the moon.
So Martians, and we don't even have to say Martians, but the point is, let's bring it more to reality or whatever. Masons are using Martian energy to trap your imagination so that you can really only visualize violent things. When we look at the Bible, it's incredibly violent, right? Like the Bible as a fundamental religion is so violent, it baffles me. And this is supposed to be relatable. This is supposed to be like the base relatability for everyone. Marvel, like these shows are getting insane, so violent. Looking at really all media in general, the way that they propagate guns and, as we've already addressed, sell violence as cool and are constantly upgrading the graphics to make the violence look more real. This is all Martian energy. Like this is all about fighting. It's all about war, right? Like it's like that's the point of war. Like it's about encouraging you to fight. And then this is where they need to make money off of war. So we don't have time for me to get super deep into all that. Jonathan is going to be sharing about the monetary side of R.E.A.L.M. Just know that this all money only matters because Masons stole numbers from Metatron and then want to use numbers to make matter off of Martian energy. And then in general, Martian energy is using this number, using money to convince you to go to war. So now when we look at all of history, we can see that money is really always backed by war. And the war that they're going on is really against nature. So money doesn't exist without nature, yet for some reason, money is always destroying the nature that it needs to consume to exist. Right? Like people make up money. I've never seen money in an environment. I've never been born into the world and saw money. Money is taught to me by someone else's imagination. They teach me if I don't uphold it, they're going to bring me Martian energy. They're going to kill me. They're going to hurt me. And now I'm going to use my Mercury. I'm going to use my communication ability to bring life to their imagination instead of knowing who I am and bringing life to my own. And then this is how they get to keep causing climate change and destroying nature, because I, an indigenous individual, creating nature around me to exist, am not actually aware of that. So now I'm creating more health problems in my body. Now I'm out of tune with the environment I'm in. Now I'm trapped in a concrete box. Now I live in a city. Now I wear shoes. I don't have my bare feet on the ground, right? Like I'm not drinking healthy water. Like I'm super out of tune with the basic environmental principles that are allowing me to exist, because I'm being taught by Martian Masons that I have to make their idea of God matter. And this is what we're all in. Like, this is what R.E.A.L.M is. This is why I'm like such an advocate for R.E.A.L M overall. Like, Jonathan goes hard.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So we're getting into the monetary, and you know, there's something I wanted to say before I get into the monetary, because you talked about this Mars type of energy. And anybody who's astute or just knows a little bit about astrology, they know that Aries is the first sign, number one. And we discussed earlier that number one is fire.
Of the body. There's so there's the astrology system for the spirit, and then the astrology system for the body. And we are paying attention to the body.
Yes.
So for the spirit, it goes Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. Aries is 3 because it is awareness. But then when it plays out in the body, it's
Aries
1.
is 3. Aries is 3 for the spirit.
Yeah, so in Zoroastrian zodiac astrology, so it like plays out naturally. So before the Masons stole all this from Zoroastrianism, this was made by indigenous people. But it's just that the body is different than the spirit. So we understood that the way the spirit moves isn't how the body moves, and thus the body is meant to stabilize space. And this is like, these are the best words I have to use, if you feel me, right? Like your body's your structure, and then you are observing your body. That's you as a space. So you care about how your structure relates with all the structures around you, because it's all space within space within space. Now we can see, like, you know, your cells live like that too inside of you, and then we're inside of a body, and then we're constantly upgrading our consciousness and taking on bigger bodies. And then the bigger our souls become, we can handle more complex organs, right? We can handle more organizations, we can make more connections, like Spider-Man, literally, so that we can have bigger, stronger muscles that allow us to manipulate ourselves into bigger, stronger realities. So like, we're always gods, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Like that fly that you see on a wall is a god in progress, and the universe is always expanding based on how we connect with our imaginations, type shit. So in astrology, the point of astrology in general is to make how we connect with the imagination relatable, so that these words make sense, basically. And that's why everything's astrological.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to point out, how the words actually make sense. So
Absolutely.
okay, let's actually talk in terms of body, because I don't know too much about
Right.
the spiritual.
Absolutely. So in body, the way that the zodiacs play out in body, Aries is first because
it's number 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In 3, it's spirituality, or in Zoroastrian zodiacs, it's 3 because it's awareness. But you can see that the way the spirit plays out in the body, because your awareness is focused in your head. So Aries is to be aware from the mind. So even though it's 3 in the spirit, when it comes to the body, it's 1. So in the spirit, Taurus is 10, but in the body, Taurus is 2.
Okay.
In the spirit, Gemini is 8. In the body, Gemini is 3. And then it's funny that 8 and 3 is just 8 cut in half. So it's like, it's interesting the relationship spirit has with body, but this is just, that goes deeper. That's all my stuff as Zoroaster, that only I could, but in the body, the Masons have it.
You got to send me some videos on that. I find that interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the Aries being 3, that's the mind. It plays out in the body as the head. So number 1.
Okay.
We're aware of ourselves first.
So with that being said, right? So Aries will pertain to fire. And fire would be number 1. What I found interesting is that the animal for the Aries is actually the ram. And if you look at ram, R-A-M, and if you spell it backwards, R-A-M, you have let me see, hold on, just to make sure I got this right.
Mar.
Yeah, you have Mars for Mars, exactly. You have Mars for Mars. And you know
Mars, Marvel.
And you know that that's the energy of Aries. That's the planet, the ruling planet, is Mars. But then also, if you flip the W or the M around from Mars to W, just flip it upside down, you have war. You know that it's the god of war. So this energy that you're talking about, like this Aryan energy, is right. It's right on point. It's right on point.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
and we could go super deep in it, right? It's just that this English language has been specifically created by Masons who are serving some Martian agenda to separate us as far from the truth as possible. So a lot of the time it's like really difficult. I mean, especially speaking English, for us to like get to the truth, which is why us speaking in general is so important, because we're constantly learning how to make connections no matter what language we're speaking. Like if you were speaking a different language in a different civilization, you would very well be going through a similar story of like how the people who made that language really created that language to push a certain media narrative so that they could make their idea of war profitable. And now they can go to war on your mind. And then really it's about Mars being the fire, and then war is the water. And war always supports Mars because water always supports fire. Women support men, right? So Mars is the god, the man, and then everyone who's going to war is the woman, and that's supposed to be us. So now they get to make money, and they've been making money. The banking system has been making so much money off of manipulating humans to go to war. They use the Bible to do it. They use the government to do it. They use English to do it. They use all these Latin languages to do it. They use R.E.A.L.M to do it.
and this is perfect because we're talking about money right now, and this is something that everybody is chasing after. Everybody is chasing after money, and most people don't even understand what money is. This instrument that most people call money, this isn't even money. This right here, as most people can will know just by reading it, is that it's actually a note. It's a Federal Reserve note.
Right.
And prior to this, we were using
and spiritually,
something called,
it's a tree with a dead Mason printed on it.
Well, exactly.
Right.
I mean, and prior to this, we were using something called a certificate, meaning that it was a certificate of gold or a certificate of silver, and you could pretty much take this certificate to the bank. They had gold certificates and they had silver certificates. You could take it to the bank and say, "Hey, you know what? I want to cash out for my my silver," and they would give you 1 ounce of silver for $1 bill. And this was taking place in history. It took place with gold up until 1935, and then they put out a mandate how all gold was illegal by President Roosevelt, and it became illegal to have gold bullion in the United States up until 1972, I believe. And that was when President Nixon took the dollar off of the gold standard. And it wasn't on a strict gold standard. It was on a partial gold standard. But, you know, the same thing with silver. Our quarters used to be 90% silver. Our dimes used to be 90% silver. Now, if you look at them, you can see a copper hinge on the edge of it, because now they are made with some other type of metal along with copper. So this thing that we call money isn't even money. It's just a currency. And this is the way that we're running as a country. There's and I'm not too familiar with all of them, but there are certain things that actually makes money money. One is that it has to be fungible. One that it actually has to you have to be able. It has to be divisible, meaning that you can break it up, right? Another one is that what was it? It was like 6 of them. I don't remember all of them, but anybody can look on Google what makes money money, and there would be a list of things. So another one is that it has to actually maintain its value, and we know that we go through something called inflation, and we're experiencing that right now. The inflation rate is incredibly high. And why is that happening? That's happening.
They're saying $7 a gallon.
It's down here in California. You're in California too, yeah. Down here in California, I think I've seen it for $6.50 today.
Wow,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So this is why we have to activate our superpowers and teleport. So we just don't even need this stuff, you know. And it's possible. It really is possible. I had a gentleman again on 7 Circles, Wayne, who was demonstrating some of the stuff, and he talks about it. So it's not far fetched now. People are starting to understand that we are more than just, you know, eating, defecating, fornicating creatures that we were taught in these false education systems, that we actually really are whatever our imagination wants us to be. So going back to the dollar bill and going back to the monetary system, when because we're going to finish this off, we talked about the media, which starts with the M. Now we're talking about the monetary, which starts with the M, and then we're going to talk about the medical, which starts with an M. If you look at the alphabets in English, we have 26 of them. If you divide 26 into 2, you have 13. The 13 alphabet is the letter M. M always means a medium. So what is money, so-called money? It's a medium of exchange. What is a mom? A mom is a medium between you know, the unseen and the seen. What is the moon? The moon is the middle between the sun and the earth. It's the thing between us. What is the media? The media is what is in the middle. It's the middleman between the actual information and the man or woman that is taking that information
Absolutely.
in. You have this medium, and it goes like that, like with the medical system and so many things. M that that energy, that is the medium. So money, right, is a medium of exchange, and we use it just to purchase goods and things like that, and everybody's accustomed to it, and everybody is used to it. But money wasn't always here, and it's a big part of the realm. If you go into nature, you don't see polar bears going across the country to trade with grizzly bears, and grizzly bears trading with pandas. You don't see this, right? Everybody just get what they need from the ground, or they might eat another bean in order to get what they need. That's just how it is in nature. So we have been tricked. There was a king, and I wish I came more prepared, because I remember seeing this quote, and I need to look deep inside of my memory in order to pull it up. But I remember it was a quote, and he was saying that somebody asked him, how are we going to get the people to do what we want to do? And then he said, we will create money. We will create money. And money is something. Think about what people do for money. Think about that women sell their bodies, men sell their bodies.
No shortage of movies about it.
No,
that's the shit that really pissed me off in the media too. Just like how hard they program people to do anything for money. Squid Games, hate it.
I watched one episode of that with my girl, and we both looked at each other and said, we cannot allow that to take residence in our consciousness. We would not watch.
Literally, thank you.
Yeah, we would not. We would not. I would not.
Like,
I would not
it's
have
just
that
so
plan.
blatant.
No.
Like, I get like nuance to stories. Like, okay, yeah, a spy is doing something for money, but then they learn morality. But like, that was blatant. Squid Game. Thank you for you and your lady for having that reaction.
Yeah, it was wild,
That's
man.
The way.
Money is so money
is so used to manipulate our muscles to do anything, to do everything.
Yes.
Anything and everything.
Why do people get up and go to a job that they don't want to go to with a person that they don't like, and do it 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week with overtime, etc.? Why? Because of money. And what's interesting, even the Constitution of the United States, it only states that gold and silver are money. It's in the Constitution, right? Gold and silver. But yet, we have something like this. Yet we have these digits. Yet we have, what do you call it? Now we have, the crypto and everything else. There's so many forms of it. And people do the most craziest things, or they do anything for it. So the monetary system, right? What does this mean? The monetary system has become an enslavement system. An enslavement system, because the dollar was created, I believe, in the early 1900s, the form of dollar that we're using now. And I think it was in 1913 was when the IRS was created, the Internal Revenue Service. And it has been proven and shown statistically that the average American works 3 months out of the year just to pay the IRS. 3 months out of the year. That means that you're working 25% of the year for free, which is defined as slavery. Just to pay the IRS. And then that's not to take into account of all of the other taxes that you're paying. We're paying taxes on gasoline. We're paying taxes on food. We're paying taxes on luxury. If we do something like crypto or stocks, we have a capital gains tax. We're paying taxes on that. Because there are many forms of taxes that we are paying. Right. Many forms. And then we get back, a $2,000 for, maybe if you're lucky, $4,000, and you think, oh my God, I'm getting money back, I'm so lucky. But they're just giving you your own money back. Money's literally the gasoline that keeps R.E.A.L.M running, because nobody would do anything if it wasn't for the money. How do you motivate people? How do people get the injections, the jabs? They bribe them with some money, and they bribe them that if they didn't go and get it, then they wouldn't get a job, which means that they couldn't create more money, right? And so people say, "Oh, I need it," not knowing that they can actually create their own money if they really wish to. I find it interesting that people work so hard on a job and put forth so much energy, but they won't take that same energy and put that in themselves, or even half the amount of energy and put that in themselves. If we were to invest in ourselves as a human species, if we were to invest in ourselves and see ourselves as the greatest assets, instead of a piece of metal that comes from the earth, which is really a polycrystal. These are crystals, just like other crystals. They're called polycrystals, metals, right? So if we were to know that we are the true wealth, we are the true wealth. We, a sick man, right? A sick man, or I should say like this, a healthy man can enjoy $1 1,000 times more than a sick man can enjoy $1 million. Your health is everything. Your health is your wealth. That's the true wealth. This is the reason why when people are older and they retire them, they don't want them. They get rid of them. Because why? Because they aren't worth as much money as the younger people. They want that good young stock. No pun intended, stock, right? So people need to realize what is really wealth and what is really money, and it's not this. But people would do anything for this. Most people, you ask people, what do you want? Give me. I want to win the lottery. Give me $1 million. This is the most said thing. But we are enslaving ourselves. We're enslaving ourselves, and we don't understand that this is a tool. When it comes to jail, I was talking about law. And when it comes to jail, right? J for judicial, E for what do you call it? What do you call it? The legislation, the judicial, and the executive, right? So E for the executive and L for the legislation. When it comes to this law of these laws that we want to pass and whatever, and then the media puts forth a campaign and tells you to vote because your voice is voting. Vote. That's your voice, right? We all heard it before, which is why I can regurgitate it.
Yeah.
What is actually the best way for you to make a change in this system, in this realm, is to actually control this dollar right here. If you aren't going to take the path of increasing your frequency and getting more chi and prana into your being until you can manifest out of it, the best way to actually would be to control this and not let this control you. So in the 1960s, when it was the civil rights movement, and Rosa Parks decided to sit down so that she could stand up for herself, she stood up for herself by sitting down. And what that ignited was, it ignited for everybody to boycott the bus system.
Right.
And they refused to take the bus system for a little bit over a year. And in doing so, the bus system went out of business, or almost went out of business. So then they said, okay, fine. You guys can get on the bus any place you want. Because this is the power of the dollar bill. People think that we have to go to a voting booth and we have to vote for a president. And we can get into that because every single president, except for Martin Van Buren, has had a direct blood line to the royal family, every single one. So we are not electing we are not electing presidents, we are selecting presidents, right? So it's a difference. But if you really want to make a change, this is how you vote. You vote with your dollar. You choose if you're going to buy Tylenol, if you're going to buy McDonald's, if you're going to buy Coca-Cola. If you stop buying, this is what I mean by people lie but numbers don't, right? If you stop using this number to purchase these ingredients, then the company, just by the fundamental, the way that a company works, right? You have a profit and loss statement. It's going to fail. It's a reason why. It's the reason why companies change their motto. Why a lot of companies are now more vegan friendly, right? Okay, we can say that that's has to do with something on the green side as well, and something to do with global warming, et cetera, et cetera. But there are significantly more people becoming vegan and vegetarians, and the companies that are in existence, they want to capitalize on some of that. They don't. They don't want to be like Blockbuster. Right, they want to be like a Netflix, so that they're changing with the way that people are changing. So your dollar bill really does have a lot of power, and people don't understand that. They don't understand the power of the dollar bill. They don't understand how in different communities it goes back and forth between the hands of people before it leaves out of the community. They don't understand. So when people they blame, complain, and explain, oh, McDonald's this, oh, Coca-Cola that, et cetera, this is true. This is a discernment. We are observing them and calling it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is the people that are perpetuating this.
Right.
Because if people said, I don't want to smoke cigarettes no more, I don't want to do Coca-Cola or whatever, just by the fact of them not giving energy, currency, or money to those things cannot exist, because
That's right.
what you put your attention on expands, and what you take your attention away from grows. And we know that with babies, if you don't give any attention to a baby whatsoever,
shrinks.
the baby's not going to make it. So your attention, as we said before, your attention is everything. Where attention goes, energy flows. So this is a tool of your attention. Everywhere I put this is me saying that this is my attention. This is me buying a Lamborghini. This is me buying a head of lettuce. This is me buying organic bananas. This is me buying fluoride water. This is me buying baby food formula to give to a baby. This is voting. Okay, this is what we want to keep on mass producing. This is what we want to keep on making. So the blaming, complaining, and explaining as a human having a spiritual experience, or however we want to say that quote or whatever,
or a spirit having a human experience. Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. However we want to say that, we are actually the ones that have all of the power. And it's just, prior to this, we talked about the media. The media brainwashes you through the 4 fears that we spoke about, on how you don't have the power. So R.E.A.L.M is a construct for you to see, and for you to really, really get a clear picture of how this construct has successfully brainwashed you. And so by having this model and looking at it from an objective point of view, you can now begin to change the way that you are navigating, so that you can successfully leave it. Or if you don't want to leave it, that you can actually now make it your bitch, instead of you becoming, a bitch of it.
Exactly.
So, that's what I want to say about money. We can go deep in so many directions. I find money very fascinating. I didn't understand it for the longest in my life, and about the past 4-5 years, I really started to get a grasp on it. And once I did, and once I acknowledged it and welcomed the energy of money to come into my life, I'm not a millionaire or nothing like that, but it started to flow, in this direction instead of in that direction. And we need to understand what money is for. Right? Are you going to buy, some sea moss? This costs $7. But would I rather buy this sea moss, or would I rather go and buy Coca-Cola?
Exactly.
Right? One is going to give me diabetes, and one is going to hurt me. One is going to make me weak. One is going to, really F me up. Whereas the other one is going to give me longevity. The other one is going to, make my organs and my blood happy. And it's, again, going back into investing in yourself, investing in you.
That's right. Exactly. And it really is about investing in you. Like, the poverty mindset that keeps people so poor is truly that. Like, we're fundamentally taught not to invest in ourselves, but to invest in the people who are teaching us not to invest in ourselves, because that's the only other option. Like, we can keep it duality. Like in Egypt went really hard because we could just break everything down to duality, and that's just how my mind works. And this is how nature works when you understand water and fire, or Zoroastrianism. There's either you investing in yourself, which would be fire because you're chasing your own dreams, or you're investing in the person who's telling you not to invest in yourself, which would be water, because now someone else's emotions get to put out your fire, and you feel like you're drowning in sorrow forever because you're constantly reacting to things outside of yourself. It's like that simple.
Either you're gonna build upon your own goals, or you're gonna be building somebody else's goal.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's what
That's simple.
That's what it boils down to. So, ladies and gentlemen, money, first and foremost, we've been programmed from the realm that money is the root of all evil. So, so subconsciously, and as a protective mechanism, if you say that something's evil, your body's going to want to get rid of it.
This is huge.
So your body is going to create barriers, subconscious barriers, which the subconscious controls 90% of your actions.
It's everything.
Without you even knowing it.
Yeah.
So first and foremost is to say money is not good and money is not evil. Money is just a tool.
Jonathan's going very hard right now. This dictates the entire way that you navigate reality is your subconscious world. Like, that's your inner water. So when your water connects with the outer water, That's you building a relationship with the world that allows you to sail life through your body. So if you subconsciously feel like money is evil, I promise you will create circumstances where you will stay poor. This is how Marvel, the Martian entities, have programmed everyone with Spider-Man. Like
Mm.
Spider-Man is super poor. He's constantly using his intelligent powers of being a brainiac who can solve anything to not be able to afford an apartment. And instead, he's fighting everyone else. He's holding the whole matrix together that won't even give him a place to live. Like he's like the poorest superhero. It's insane. It's Martian programming, like right there, like teaching people that
Wow.
poverty mindset, like no, money's evil. Like it's insane. Like Spider-Man could be so rich if he just invested in himself a little bit. You know, like just the
No.
little tiniest bit. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, you could have so much money if you invested your energy a little bit into yourself. But instead, he's like, no, great power comes great responsibility. I need to hold the matrix that's keeping me poor together. And now he's serving police that shoot him. Like
Dude, he can
he's getting shot by the police that he's making their job easier and they're shooting him in return. If that's not the story of America, I don't know what is. This is how you know Spider-Man is indigenous before they whitewashed him, because he's playing out that energy, and that's how they trapped all of that shit. It's insane. It's true poverty conditioning. What were you about to say, Jonathan?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was just gonna say that he could open up a YouTube channel and he would have millions upon millions of subscribers. You know what I mean? It
Right.
is interesting, but
He could do so much. So it's just we're trained through the media to believe that making money is evil, and it subconsciously shows that the people who are teaching you what money is are using it for evil purposes. But if you feel like the money itself is the problem, then this is where you're going to create problems that keep you poor. And now you're never going to be in a solution mindset to actually get the money that would allow you to transform your circumstances, because the evil people who are using it to consume indigenous individuals taught you that it's evil. And now you're like, oh, okay, it's evil. I need to judge rich people. And it's just the subconscious finds a way. Your subconscious controls the entire way you connect with life.
yes, and that's what people do. They look at the richest person, whether if it's a Mark Zuckerberg or whoever, and they point their fingers and blame that person. Not to say that these people haven't done things, but money also, what it does is it actually magnifies who you are. So if you're a prick, money's going to make you a mega prick. If you're somebody that gives and you're a philanthropist, you have that type of spirit, then you're going to be more, of a giving type of person. It just magnifies, excuse me, it just magnifies who you are. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to change, first and foremost, is don't blame, don't complain, and don't explain. No excuses. There's something, and we're going to talk about this maybe towards the end once we get done. We can talk about my story and how I lived in the woods, and then we can get into psychedelics, how the
Fire.
can mesh
Exciting.
together, and then we can actually
Dope.
bring this full circle.
Yep.
Bring it full circle. So, money. First and foremost, it's not evil. Money's just just like I used to
It's
be
an
a chef.
idea. Think of it like fire feels evil. That's the thing. Like, this is why it's easy to sell, like, this fire is evil, because it burns you. It hurts you. It transforms you into something that serves the person who created that fire. So it does feel evil. But once you know that this idea is, as Jonathan is saying, a tool that you can use to express your own imagination instead of being consumed by someone else's imagination, the way you communicate changes, and now your life transforms.
Yes, let me give one jewel, because
Please.
if people are, and this helped me, and when I read it, it helped my brother. And this comes from a book, and my brother, he's really doing well off. I actually did an interview with him. He's big into crypto. So
Nice.
this comes from a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. If anybody who read this book, they know what I'm going to say. So it boils down
Tree
to
analogy. We got trees
Nah.
coming up.
it boils down to 10%. Whatever
Okay.
you make, you take 10% and you save it. So if you make a dime, you take a penny and you save it. If you make $1, you take 10 cents of that dollar and you save it. If you make $10, you take $1 and you save it. If you make $100, you take $10 and you save it. If you make $1,000, you take $10. No, if you make $1,000, you take $100 and you save it. If you make $10,000, you take $1,000 and you put it aside. If you make $1 million, you take $100,000 and you put it aside. if you do this for a year, so let's say the average person, the average male, I believe, makes $50,000 in America. I think it was 50. So that means that he would have $5,000 at the end of the year. If let's say if you do that for 2 years, right? Because anybody who makes a dime, let's say if you were getting paid a dime, you could say, oh, I could easily set a penny aside. If you were making $1, you could say, oh, I could easily set a dime aside. If you can understand that, you can understand that if you were making $1,000, you can set $100 aside because it's math. Because people lie, but numbers don't. It's exactly math, right? And then at that point, it just becomes a mind fuck, right? So you take this money, you set it aside. Let's say in 2 years, right? Let's say when 2020 happened, it seemed like yesterday. And let's say that you're the average person by statistics, and you're making $50,000 a year. That means that right now, you have $10,000 saved up in 2 years. Imagine what items you can invest in right now in the crypto market. Imagine how many of these you can buy. If this is worth $1,000, imagine having 10 of these and knowing that the price is going to go up. Imagine putting down a down payment on a
This
cheap
is
house.
where the tree analogy comes in, because it is about nature and paying attention to things, right? So when you have water, when you have all this nourishment, you can pay attention to the right crypto coin. And now you can allow that to feed you back way more resources than you would have had if you just held on to your money, right?
Well,
Talking about
because
investing it properly.
Because it actually does go into nature. Like if you have an apple and you eat your entire apple, you can't plant any more apples.
Exactly.
But if you have the apple, you leave it alone, and then you take the seeds and plant more apples, you're literally doing multiplication.
There it
and
is.
this is what it boils down to the law of 10, is that you're taking the 10%, or if you want to, you can do 20%. That $10,000 would turn into $20,000. If you think that you could take 2 dimes out of every dollar that you can make, and you can still live a life to where you have your basic needs met, then hey, you're good to go. You know what I mean? And that's how you do it. That's how you get yourself out of a hole, and that's how you start to actually accumulate money, and then you just invest it where you need to invest it. So it's not really a hard concept. It takes some education, it takes some practice, but anybody can do it. But if you are ignorant, if you're just disobedient, and if you're arrogant, then you're poisoning your own self, and you're never ever going to actually understand, or overstand any of these things that we are talking about, because you already know something. You can't add more water in a full cup, right? Yes, you have a little surface tension, right? And maybe you can do a tiny bit, but you can't add more water to a full cup. So if you know it, then fine. I can't help you. Chase can't help you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It is perfect. Yeah. A full cup cannot get any more full.
So money, it's the thing that everybody's chasing, and you guys just need to understand that if you really want to get clear, the best thing to do is chase your jeans.com and fast, because once you fast, you're actually going to get a clearer mindset, and then you actually are going to be able to do these things that we're talking about. Because if your mind is full of junk and gunk and funk, and then you're just going to be stuck, and it's going to be hard to really get out of that poverty mindset. But once you fast, you're going to connect with nature, and nature is going to guide you.
Yo, that's too perfect. Jonathan just hit it synchronistically. He went super deep. That's crazy. Like, I thought he was just going to end it with fasting, but nature will guide you when you fast, and it gets very psychedelic. And do chase your genes, and chase us into our next segment where we talk about medicine. Genes.